It's a boring video, but it's a video I wish I had found when I was starting freelancing. Because basically, I share how I got all my clients. I never, once I found that solution, no cold calling, no cold emailing. I was just receiving leads week after week after week after week for 6 years. So
Like,
up until
you use?
it's a business network called BNI.
Okay, I remember you mentioned about it. Or
Yeah.
they or someone joined from our network, BNI. It happens on local level, right?
Yeah. I mean, since the pandemic, they also have online, but the real principle is you meet face to face and in a group called a chapter. And I heard that they always gave us examples from India. They say, "Oh, this is the biggest group, BNI group in the world was in India, 140 members or something like Titanium group." Our group at the peak, we were at 44, and the principle is like there's a lawyer in the group. One of his clients said, "Oh, do you know someone that can create websites?" He's going to refer the person to me. And
Hmm.
me, I said, "Do you know a good lawyer?" I refer to him. So every week, I get new leads from my co-members, and then we have guests. And also, I can access, like at one point, I had an issue. We had an issue with someone at the state level. So I went to one of our meetings and I said, "Does anybody knows that person?" 30 minutes later, no, he was not in meeting, he was in the WhatsApp group. I asked 30 minutes later, I get the phone number, the direct phone number of the person. And then the person who gave me the phone number said, "Oh, wait, don't even call. I'm going to call him. He's going to call you." And then I think 1 hour later, the person called me and the problem was fixed in less than 2 weeks. And it had been like 1 year I was waiting. I was like, why didn't I think about that before? So you can get access to people anywhere because you have a global network. If I was traveling to India, well, I could already contact people, say, "Hey, could you put me in touch with this or that person?" But basically, I that's how I made my money. Because to be honest, when I started, I was trying to get my website ranked, which was pretty easy. It's a small island, so I got ranked well. But I always only got cheap clients because people are looking for a cheap website, blah blah blah. And I was tired of working with cheapos, because you're putting the same amount of work, and usually the cheap client, they're the worst. They don't even appreciate what you do. And I remember when I started with BNI, the website I would sell were like 3 times more minimum than what I used to sell. And the clients were way better. They trusted me. They didn't even really talk about price. They just wanted to be sure the work was going to be done in time and with quality. That's what they were concerned about. So when I see all those videos, oh, cold calling strategies, blah, it can work, but it feels like you're a beggar, you know? Like I've never replied to one single of these emails. I just hate those people. And I can understand they do it because maybe they're struggling, but there's a much better way. The only thing is BNI, you have to pay upfront. So, and I was paying like 1,500 euros, so $1,700 per year, but it's per year. Um, and actually I made my money back. That's why I explained in the video. I made my money back like 3 weeks later. I doubled that money, you know. And I was in a very bad spot because I had lost my job. I was divorced. I had little money left on my account, but I was like, hey, what difference does it make? Broke or super broke. I said, let me try. And it was a good bet because yeah, 6 years. And I only quit when I decided to leave and start traveling. Just before I started, actually, when I was discussing with Suje and BSF about joining, when things were finalized, that's when I told the group, "Hey, I'm leaving after 6 years." But if I was still in that business model of services, I wouldn't sweat it. I mean, the amount of effort now you need to be ranked with SEO, no, all I had to do is show up once per week. Yes, it's early, 6:30 a.m., but once per week. And then I made my money. Things were good. And also, There was a graphic designer in the group. There were some other professionals that I could work with for bigger projects. So when we landed big clients, we would go with a team of 4, 5, 6 people, you know, and it makes us look better. So what I did, I created a brand and a company, and then when they would work for us, they would work under the name of the company. And then we added video production because I realized, hey, I can make the same amount of money that I make. Like if I take 3 weeks to build that website, I can make the same money in 3 days doing video production. And it was also a way to diversify. You know, when there's less customers in the web, there's
Mm.
always customers in video and vice versa. So same thing, we printed some T-shirts with the branding, and then when people would work for us as freelancers, they would put our branding. But you know, then the clients are happy. They see a team coming, but actually it's just freelancers, people from my BNI group. You know, they have their own business, but yeah, it's just the power of the brand. I learned that when I was working for Virgin. There is
So,
really power in branding.
so I guess is that how you used to run your agency? Like they were all having their own businesses, but
Yeah,
whenever it was required, you were working really asset light. You had no employees, but you collaborated
e-
with.
exactly. And I'm going to tell you I had two main competitors that were close locally, like in the same facilities. You know, it was like a co-working space, but we had our own offices. And after they had employees, well, they went bankrupt. Short story. Pandemic just killed them because they had to keep on paying people and stuff. And we were cool. Like it was me and my business partner, and we had no employees. So you know, basically, we just needed the money for ourselves. So yeah, I think it's good when you have good employees, but you really need a HR professional to vet and screen, you know, who to take. And we were just getting started. We're like, no, let's stay light. And also, I noticed by using the people in my BNI group, they have to be held accountable because if they mess up, everybody will know in the group. They will lose credibility. And so I always find that working with professionals from BNI, from my own group, the work was top notch because they know they're putting their reputation on the table with each project. You
Mm.
know, I remember once I hired someone external. He was like a cameraman and editor. So we needed, I think, a 3 or 4 camera setup. It was for a commercial, and I saw some of the videos. He was really good. So we wanted him to do more of the reels for Insta. You know, when we were doing the main video. So he came, he helped. He was really good. Then I told him I need to edit by this date. Oh yeah, sure, blah blah blah. The date comes, nowhere to be found. Try to contact him, nothing. And we have to give the video to the client. So luckily, because I can do it myself, well, I ended up doing it myself. You know, I had a lot of work, but I did it. The guy contacts me like 1 month later. Oh, sorry, I had personal issues. Said, man, I'm sorry, but you know, I don't care. Like this is not professional. I said, at the very minimum, you could have told me I have an issue, I won't be able, and then you know I would have known. But I said you ghosted me, and and that's why I really prefer to work with people in my group because it never happened. Even people from other BNI chapters, they know they're being held accountable. So the quality of work was always good, and the few times there were some hiccups, it was peacefully resolved. You know, so it was all in all, it was a very good experience. Just BNI itself is really boring. Like for 6 years, just imagine once per week, it's like I'm reliving the same thing over and over.
And what
You know,
exactly you did in every meeting?
so there's an agenda. It's always the same thing. They talk about the global figures, the regional figures. They explain the concept because we have guests in the room also. Every week we have guests. Like everybody's supposed to bring in guests from time to time. And then they show how the group is performing, blah, blah, blah. And then each member can pitch the services for 30 seconds. So you only have 30 seconds to pitch a service. So they teach you also how to do that in a very short time to capture attention. And every week you're supposed to do a different one, you know, with another angle of your business. But yeah, after 6 years, you run out of ideas, you know, of what to say, and it's the most boring thing ever. But every time I refocus and I say, yeah, this is what putting bread on my table. So I'll happily go. And, but then it was good also on a social level because this is not, I was living there, I'm not from there. So I had a very small network. After joining BNI, I know so many people in many industries, and also sometimes we would go and uh, have dinner together, like bond, and that was also good. So yeah, it made me quite a good network, and that's what I wanted to share. And I know on YouTube people don't really care; they just want to see, oh, I made $5,000 today by just blinking, bullshit type of stuff. They don't want to hear the real thing that hey, yeah, you're gonna have to wake up early, you're gonna have to pay a little bit of money, for sure, but you're gonna make some money back.